Hey guys, I am back, and this is kind of the post dyno video that I tossed at you guys last second. Car made fantastic horsepower, exactly where I want it to be on the stock block. 453 horse to the wheels or so, and 370 torque, or somewhere around there. Exactly where I want it to be. I definitely would like to thank Alex for doing a phenomenal job and getting it done as quickly as he did. I mean, I dropped the bomb on him pretty much the day before, 2 days before that happened, the dyno happened. And the guys at the dyno were absolutely incredible, super friendly, knew exactly what they were doing. It was pretty smooth actually overall. My experience with the dyno in the car, we had a couple issues, or one little issue, and that was this fail-safe, these nipples, or push-in connectors on both ends. They were leaking. Actually, prior to that, I replaced all of them with different ones, and kind of don't judge too hard. This is literally like all I could get for push-in connectors or whatever they're called. It is fairly hard to find these things apparently, and if you're ever looking for methanol connectors like these, or push-in connectors, or whatever they're called, whatever the proper term, if someone can post and comment below. You can get them at Greenline Hoses or Greg's. I went to Greenline Hoses preferably because they really specialize in this stuff, where Greenline Hose or Greg's is just kind of they carry them, but they don't really specialize in that stuff, if that makes sense. One thing that went wrong when I took it for a drive was this boost hose or boost tap. It turned like that, and it literally popped right off while driving. So I'm gonna try and replace the O-rings on it, and nothing popped off, nothing else popped off, like my vacuum lines that are fuel lines. That little upgrade that I did, it worked pretty, like really good still till today. There are no vacuum leaks anywhere. So for now, my fix is just to kind of put it like that, lock it in place, kind of jam it in there, and it'll prevent it from really opening and closing. And hopefully with the oil catch can line, it'll do the exact same thing. But other than that, it was a scramble to find new spark plugs and the filter. I'm using temporarily the K&N filter. That was the only thing that was available for my setup. I have a velocity stack right here. And so the filter clamps on to it. It's a 6-inch, I think it's a 6 or 9-inch, I can't remember. I want to say it's a 6-inch housing. But temporarily I'm using this. I'm not a huge fan, and I never recommend anyone running oiled filters, but that was literally the only thing that was available for me. It was way better than the old one that I have, and I'll show you the old one that I have here. There's a comparison. It's a bit larger, or the new one is a little bit smaller than my old one, but this one is definitely it's time to retire this poor thing. It's unless I'll play around with it and I'll see if I can clean it up and use it as my backup filter, but this thing is yeah, it needs to retire. It did very well. What else? There are no leaks, which is great. This is exactly what I wanted to achieve. Oh, and then I have had an issue. There's a flap, runner flapper, a sensor, whatever that's called. Basically, your runners, they open and close. It is for your fuel economy reasons more than anything, and they're probably controlled by your throttle body and ECU, obviously, to open and close and vacuum. That sensor accidentally broke the housing when I was removing the oil adapter plate, oil filter adapter plate, I should say. So the housing of the connector itself is a little broken, so I'm gonna have to redo that down the line and get that replaced, rewired. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, to be honest, but that did go wrong. Oh, and then I noticed that my fan, it is actually, you can hear it, it is pooched. I don't really know what's wrong with it, but it was working just fine, and then now it's it is completely completely gone. Yeah, so that fan needs to go. Unfortunately, it's not running too smooth, not running too happy, so this whole assembly needs to go. So that'll be a little bit of a work project, and probably when I'll be doing that, I'll be replacing my coolant. It's time for it to go as well, so that'll be interesting to figure out how that works. Shouldn't be too bad. I've done it many times in different vehicles, so it's just another car more than anything. But everything was great. My valve cover job was really good. There were no leaks. Actually, I think this is cylinder 1, I can't remember, but that cylinder had some oil in it from before, when the gasket was failing basically, and oil was dripping inside the spark plug. Yeah, otherwise everything is pretty much peachy. There are no issues whatsoever, just minor odds and ends that need to be done sooner than later. But my next project also that comes in mind is I want to kind of hide this area of cluster, and I want to get maybe like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch thick metal, something similar what you get with your intakes when you buy your intake from like Integrated Engineering or CTS. You have that little cover right here that prevents hot air from going in. But I want to get something like that and utilize these nipples or whatever they're called, sorry, something in here to kind of hold that piece of metal in place and block off the engine bay as much as possible in this area. So it's kind of my goal right now, to get as much cold air in here as possible. And if you can find another filter that's dry, find a company where you can just order maybe like 4 or 5 of them just to keep them on hand for down the line, and maybe get a 45-degree angle elbow. That's an adapter like this one is. I think this is like 2.5 inch, and this is probably 3 inch, or somewhere around there. And then just basically do a 45 elbow like that, going into the corner here with the same filter, and just kind of have a simple metal piece there. And you know, if you know anybody that does that custom stuff, let me know, to do the bottom of the vehicle. So I might use that or get them to make it for me. We'll see. I'm not really good with sheet metal and stuff like that. So, but yeah, everything on this vehicle went fantastic. Guys at on the dyno were pretty happy with the numbers. They were really impressed with the amount of power they made. Alex from Stratified, he said that we did pretty good on the numbers as well. And we are at elevation at 2,100 feet. So it's pretty quick little car now. I'm happy. I kind of have to get used to the powers now, or the power difference. But that's for another video. I'll try to get a GoPro and maybe record some in person or point of view experiences of the car. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite project, my favorite point of this car that I've been building for some time now. And minor fixes, I'm not too, like minor issues are like this thing not holding up or whatever. I'm not really I don't really care about that. It's very minor compared to what we've done so far. But yeah, I'll try to maybe make some more videos of what I'm doing to the car, and maybe some maintenance and how I do it, and maybe tricks that I can show you guys who are probably doing the similar thing, or will be doing something similar down the line, to kind of give you an idea of what you have to expect. But for now, enjoy the view, and I'll see you guys next time.